Hey, Tommy from the Run Testers. I'm out on a first run at the moment wearing the Merrell MTL Skyfire 2s. So I'll report back in a bit as to how it went. See you in a bit. The Merrell MTL Skyfire 2 costs £170 or $200, weighs in at 188 grams or 6.6 ounces for men in a size 8. The drop is 6mm and the lugs are 5mm. The MTL Skyfire 2 is a trail shoe that's firmly focused on hitting the trails at speed. Designed for elite runners, Merrell has stripped as much weight as possible without skimping on the technical features needed for tackling tough terrain. The shoe combines a 2-part dual-density FloatPro midsole foam for a modest level of cushioning, with a FlexPlate to improve speed as well as protect the feet from pointing things on the ground. The outsole is covered with Vibram Mega Grip rubber, featuring surprisingly aggressive 5mm lugs, as well as an uncovered section to lower the overall weight of the shoe. Above the midsole is an EVA footbed for comfort and a thin, breathable mesh upper. Okay, so I'm back now from that first run in the Merrell MTL Skyfire 2. And first of all, the fit. What I would say is that I'm a size 8. This is a size 8. It does look like quite a narrow, small shoe when you first look at it. But to be honest, when I put it on, I didn't have any issues at all. It felt like it was the right size for me. There's a little bit of space in the forefoot, not too much, but you do want a bit of space in a trail shoe. The thing I would say about it is that it is an elite level shoe that's designed for running fast over the trails. So you do want it to be pretty held in place. You don't want too much space in it. You really want your foot to be strapped into the shoe, because the design for this, which is running over rocky mountains and stuff like that, you really want your shoe to be secure and in place. So I would definitely stay to my size in this shoe, and I didn't have any issues with it at all. So that first run I just did was a 10k, which had a little bit of road in it, but most of the sections were up muddy, dry muddy hills and across some fields and things like that. This shoe is designed for short distance racing, so I think this is probably aimed at kind of 5k to 10k races over the trails, so I wouldn't want to go much further in it than that. It is quite a lean shoe. And there is cushioning in it. There's midsole cushioning. There's a dual layer of it with this plate that sits in between it. It is a pretty thin shoe. When I was on the road sections, I didn't want to be on the road sections for very long because it's really not designed for that. That cushioning is very minimal, and you can really tell that when you're on the hard, compact areas, which I wouldn't want to wear. I was actually a bit worried with the shoe because I'm not particularly good when it comes to really thin cushioning. I like a bit of cushioning in my shoes, and when I go out wearing really lean shoes, I get a bit worried that I'm going to do something to my calf or something like that. But when I hit the grassy sections, when I hit the mud sections, it started to feel really good. And it's so light. It's a really light shoe. You can really pick up the pace in this shoe quite nicely, and it does a really good job at that. So on those sections where I was running uphill, didn't really notice it on my feet. It was really just there and just helping me out without adding any extra weight. What I would say is it's got this sort of plate in it, which sort of doubles as a rock plate. I didn't really feel a lot from that, which is not a major issue when it comes to trail shoes. You don't really need to feel like a propulsive plate when you're running on the trails, and quite often with a lot of trail shoes that have now added plates in them, you can't really feel them anyway. But this one, I didn't really feel a lot from that. It just felt like a lightweight, lean shoe that was really pared down to not have a lot of stuff on it to sort of weigh you down, and it did that very well. The other thing I would say about this shoe as well is that it has a surprisingly impressive level of grip on the outsole. So it's got these 5mm lugs that sit on it, and they're really quite good. The trails that I was out on today, it's really dry at the moment, so I've not tested these out in mud. I have a feeling they do pretty well in mud because they're fairly aggressive lugs for such a lightweight shoe. Merrell has removed a lot of the outsole rubber on the outsole on this all these sections here, so it's like a sort of waffly effect to make it lighter. So I would be a bit concerned that some of these exposed bits of midsole foam may be an issue if you're running over certain terrain. I wasn't running over anything tricky today, so no major issues. But that does make the shoe light, but it also does mean that there's a lot of exposed midsole foam, so that might be tricky. going forward. Normally with a Vibram outsole, you want to see the whole thing covered with Vibram, but obviously because this is a lightweight elite shoe, you're not going to get that. So other than that, what I would say about the ride in this shoe is that it was very comfortable. It just felt very natural. There's a nice bit of flex in the shoe considering that it's got a plate in it. I think Merrell's added some sort of design features in this so that there's it can flex laterally. The other thing I'd say about the shoe is that it has a 6mm drop, but it does not feel like that. I definitely didn't feel like there's a 6mm drop. I didn't know that until I came back and did some reading on it. But it does feel like it's got maybe even a 0 drop in it for me, which is interesting. It's probably just because it's not got a lot of cushioning in it, so that drop is quite minimal when you feel it, and the combination of the plate. But yeah, definitely didn't feel like it had a 6mm drop to me. Other than that, that first run, solid. Lightweight shoe. Definitely say that for me, it's not my sort of shoe, just because when I'm running on the trails, I'm not going out really fast. I'd never run really fast on the trails, especially if it's designed for technical terrain like this is. So the sort of person this is designed for is a very specific type of person. Merrell do talk about some of their athletes that run longer distances in this, but I think for the normal runner, you're looking more at doing shorter distances in this just because of the lack of cushioning that sits in it. Okay, so my early verdict on the Merrell MTL Skyfire 2 is that it does what it says on the tin. It's a very lightweight, lean shoe that's designed for speed, but it does have a surprising amount of features on it. So Merrell's done a good job to really pack this shoe out for performance on the trails. Great lugs. That plate, which doubles as a protective rock plate as well, which also gives you a bit of propulsion. I didn't feel that massively, but I think you probably need to go for longer distance to do that. I definitely wouldn't want to go longer distance in the shoe, just because I need a bit more cushioning even on the trails. But I think it's a solid, comfortable shoe. Merrell always make comfortable shoes. Some of the best trail shoes I've ran in for sort of my comfortable trail plods have always been Merrell. Just think they're just very solid, never had any issues with fit or anything like that. So it's just a great solid shoe, lightweight shoe that's very comfortable. I just think it's a little bit focused on a very specific type of runner that is doing those elite level speed runs on the trails, and that's not me. Okay, so that's it from me with the Merrell MTL Skyfire 2. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, anything like that. And don't forget to check the channel out for all the videos we've got. And if you go into the captions below, you can find a link to our most recent podcast. And if you're listening to this in May, it's a podcast interview I did with Ed Budd about his views on running shoes and various other things at the moment. So go and listen to that if you want something to keep you active and interested during your next run. Right, catch you later.